Hi everyone and welcome to Atp Live Monday. Welcome to Atp Live. I'm going to just share the video and welcome everyone. Also help us to share, invite your friends and family to join us. Thank you so much for those who are already joining us on Instagram. You're welcome to Atp Live Monday. I just want to make sure we share the videos to all the various platforms and then we can start. For those who are joining us for the very first time, ATP Live is a program where you get to ask any questions that you have about the health of your children and get answers immediately from a pediatrician over the next 1 hour. Thank you so much for joining me from whichever platform you're watching, whether you're watching on our Facebook group or Facebook page or Instagram or YouTube. You're welcome. I'm just trying to also share to all the other platforms. Then we can start. And we're gradually coming to the end of the year. I hope our year has been beautiful. And I know some of us are still expecting a lot to happen, and a lot can still happen in the next 30, 40 days that we have left in the year. All right. And just also remind us that ATP will be closing from the 18th of December. So we shall wind down 2 weeks to the end of the year so everybody can have time to be with family, to celebrate with their family. Of course, our group will always be there and you can use the search button to get the answers to most of your questions, but you have to DIY this time around. All right. I'm almost done with my sharing. So thank you so much for joining us. If you have any questions about the health of your children, just post your question on whichever platform you're watching on. So if you're watching on Instagram, you can put it in comments. If you're watching on YouTube, you can put it in comments. If you're watching on our Facebook group, Ask the Pediatrician Facebook group, you can just also put it in comments. If you're watching on any other Facebook groups, you will have to click on the video to get you to the Facebook page, and that is where you can, because it's on the page that I'll be able to see your questions. Otherwise, you can, if you're not asking any question, you can just watch on the platform that you have. So that's fine as well. So thank you so much. I hope we all had a nice weekend. I did. All right, I just got a couple of more pinning to do, then we can start. But you can start to drop your questions. And please, when you're starting to drop your question, please start with the age of the child. I have to always say this all the time because mothers like to jump straight to the question and my baby. The pediatrician always needs to know which baby we're talking about because we deal with a lot of babies from 0 to 18 years. So we always need to know the context. So always start with the age of the child. Always tell us relevant information. Like if you're asking about my baby is losing weight, I think it would be useful for us to know the weight of the child, the current weight, and maybe the birth weight. So those kind of useful information, it would be nice. There are some questions that require us to see like rashes, and we can't see that on this kind of platform. So you may have to go to our Facebook group to put a picture, because we'll be able to put a picture on into the comments on Instagram or Facebook. So just take note of all that and just go straight to the point and try to ask a question. If you just give me commentaries about your child's situation without asking a question, I will not know what to do with the information because I try not to read minds. So I always want you to tell me what exactly you want us to address in your question. So thank you so much, everyone. Now we just have 1 hour, so let's try and ask our questions as quickly as possible so that we will be able to answer them. But not to worry if we've finished the program, or maybe you're one of those who are watching a recording now. No problem. You can always post your questions to Ask the Pediatricians Facebook group. Our groups are open from Mondays to Saturdays, 24 hours every day. So you can post your questions and we will get to answer them. Sometimes some questions we may not answer them to 24 hours, some 48 hours. Please be patient with us. If your question is an emergency, please you have to go to the hospital. And if a child is very sick, please you have to go to the hospital. We don't expect you. We know we are all sensible parents and caregivers. So we expect you to use your judgment to know that this is a question I can ask and wait, or this is something I have to go meet the pediatricians at the hospital. So that is how we roll. So thank you so much, everyone. Welcome, and thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome to Ask the Pediatricians Live. I'm Bemisola Boyde, and I'm a pediatrician, and I'm here to answer your questions about the health of your children. We celebrated a lot of days last week. We celebrated the World Pneumonia Day. We celebrated World Prematurity Day. We celebrated World Diabetes Day. They tend to come in groups like that. So if you have any question on those, feel free to ask as well, and I'll just try and address them. Thank you. So let me start with Instagram, because Instagram people are the earlier people. All right. The first question I have is from Rayo Ajayi. Please, my baby was born at 35 weeks, 3 days. So happy World Prematurity Day to your baby. Weighing 2.23 kilos. She's 3 weeks now, weighing 2.58. Do I need to give her any multivitamins? So for all our preterm babies, they should be seeing a pediatrician. And for preterm babies, there are medications that we prescribe for them routinely. So we tend to put them on folic acid, we tend to put them on iron supplements, and we tend to put them on some multivitamins as well, but mostly the folic acid and the iron supplements. So your preterm baby should have seen a pediatrician and should have been on those medications. So if your preterm baby is not on it, you have to go back and see a pediatrician. Preterm babies are not just like any other babies. There are certain things that still happen in the last few weeks during pregnancy. So usually most of the transmission of iron and some things happen in that last few weeks of pregnancy, which unfortunately preterm babies will not be able to get. So because of that, there are extra care that pediatricians we have to take when it comes to preterm babies. And for them, their weight is not just about food only. We need to monitor even the volume of food that we give to them. We have to monitor it, because if it's too much, it can cause heart failure. So we have to monitor a lot of things in preterm babies and all that. So it is very important that all preterm babies are followed up by a pediatrician. There are also some complications that preterm babies are prone to, so the pediatrician wants to monitor. Though your baby is preterm, but at least it's what we call a late preterm. So late preterms are babies 32 weeks and above. So their own risks are less, but there are still risks there because they are preterm babies. So it is important that your preterm baby has a pediatrician who is following up that baby, who is monitoring weight, monitoring growth, monitoring PCV, making sure everything is right and good. So that's what I'm going to recommend, that get your baby to see a pediatrician. And you can go to any of our government hospitals if you don't know which hospital to go to. Many people always ask, why do I recommend? Because I'm sure that in a government hospital, like a general hospital and a teaching hospital, you would definitely have to see pediatricians. But it's not everybody in private, it's not every private hospital that we have a pediatrician. So that is why I sometimes tend to make that recommendation. But some private hospitals also have pediatricians. So if you know that this is a hospital that has a pediatrician, of course, you can also see them as well. All right. Maule 6. Please, what can I do to help my baby stool freely? It is hard and she will cry. Okay, Maule, I think you've asked a question before my instructions. So please always start your question with the age of your child. All right, it's very important. And if you're asking question about stools, whether watery or hard, I want you to tell us what you're feeding your baby with. So I need the context of which baby am I dealing with. I need what are you information about what you're feeding your baby. Then I'll be able to advise you. Okay, you've put that she's 7 months old. So for a 7 months old baby, we expect your baby to be on complementary feeding. So you're supposed to be breastfeeding and you're supposed to be giving other solids. Now, when you're giving the other solid, you need to pay attention to the texture of what you're giving your baby. So your baby also need to take lot of water. Your baby need to take fruits and veggies. Baby need to take food rich in fiber. Some of us, when we do complementary feeding, from our experience, I'm not saying that is to you. This is just a general comment. We tend to do a lot of pap and formula, and so that can be an issue because it's just there's little or no fiber in pap and just the milk. So babies still need to have some veggies. So if your baby is getting constipated, it's most likely you're doing just a lot of the pap and the or maybe it's even just the formula and maybe some cereals, and we are not paying attention to the veggies, we're not paying attention to the fruits, or baby is not drinking water. So if your baby is drinking water, taking fruits and veggies, we don't expect baby to be constipated, and we expect you to also be breastfeeding as well. And when you're adding milk to your baby's pap or any of those cereals, please pay attention to the ratio. There's an amount of milk that goes into an amount of water. So, for example, some will say a scoop of milk to 30 mils of water or 60 ml of water, depending on what you're using. So, you need to make sure you follow that same ratio, because some of us just think we just add it as the spirit leads. No, it is not the spirit leads. You have to do it the proper way as well. And also make sure you are breastfeeding. It's important because your baby's food is not just going to be solids. It's still the breast milk is still so important. So if you're doing that well, we don't expect your baby to be constipated. And if your baby is still constipated, because it's everything not just about food, there are other medical conditions that could make a child to be constipated. So if your child is still constipated, then you may need to see us. When I say us, I mean you need to see a doctor, a pediatrician, and we may need to give something to soften the stool and all that. But most of the time, just doing the right thing will take care of most of the constipation that babies have, and that's it. But if some babies have some complication, like some children may have what we call H-prong disease, which is a condition where the intestine lacks some part of it does not have the nerve supply to them, and because of that, those areas do not contract when as they're supposed to contract. So stool will tend to stay there, and they will not easily be able to pass it out. So such babies need additional help, and eventually they may need operation as well. So there are conditions that can do those kind of stuff, but most of the time it's just about food, the texture of food, and making sure our children have water, food rich in fiber, fruits and veggies, and all that. All right, let's just take one more question. Instagram, then we'll go to Facebook, and I'll come back to Instagram. Please don't go away. Sabran Fashion. My 5 months old baby has points, okay? Should I be worried? Yes. So if any child has any abnormality in the eyes, you need to see the ophthalmologist. So a squint, for those who may not understand that, is when baby's eyes are not looking straight, like the eyes, when you look, you will expect your two eyes to look in the same direction, but some babies will be as if one is looking different from where the other one is looking. So we call it a squint, and there are many possible causes of it. Sometimes it may just be something that may be what we call congenital. Baby is born with this, it may correct it by itself, but sometimes there are other things that will cause it. So for any child that has any squint, the eye doctors have to see that child. They need to examine the eyes, they need to check everything is fine, and if everything is fine, they will let you know. If there's something to worry about, they will let you know, and then they will tell you what to do. But you must see an ophthalmologist. Don't make assumption everything is fine, or if your baby has a squint, you have to take that baby to an hospital to see an eye doctor, preferably an eye doctor for children. Okay, so we have what we call the pediatric ophthalmologist. So you will likely meet those ones in a teaching hospital. So you have to take your baby to them and let them. It's not the optician, those who give glasses. There are people who are actually eye doctors who do those kind of specialty kind of a thing. So those are the rights, or we call them ophthalmologists. So those are the people you really need to see, and it's so important that you see them straight away. All right. Okay, let's just take one or two on Facebook and come back to Instagram so that Facebook people too don't start getting worried. All right, Facebook user, my baby and a leg is hot. I use a thermometer and temperature is 37. So if the temperature is 37 by the thermometer, your baby is not hot. Your baby does not have a fever. So there's nothing to do. Just let the baby be. The thermometer is meant to be more reliable measure of temperature than your hand. So maybe sometimes you feel warm and you touch your baby, you would think baby is warm. You are the one that may be warm actually. So just let the baby be. Unless you are thinking maybe your thermometer is 40, get a new one or get another one and try. But 37 is a normal temperature and we will not worry about it. Okay, the same person. Does eating salt affect a child living with albinism? There's a lot of myths around albinism. So Facebook user, you are in our Facebook group. So you can go just search albinism in our group and read. I'm sure we have a group discussion on albinism. Albinism is a medical condition where people who have albinism, they tend to lack the the pigments, we call it melanin. There are some ways the body produces those pigments, and for people who have albinism, they lack some of those enzymes or things that are supposed to work in that process, so they will not be able to produce this black skin like I have. So they look they not that they're fair, but they look white, like depigmented, because they are not able to produce those color to the skin, and it can affect there are different type of albinism. We have one that can just be affecting the eyes. They have one that affects both the eyes and the skin and all that. So because of that, there are certain risks that people that have albinism are prone to, most especially their skin when they're exposed to the sun. Because what you're having your black skin does for you is that it's kind of protects you from some very bad rays that you don't see with your eyes, that but your body is kind of protected against them. Whereas for people who have albinism, they are not able to get that protection, and so because of that, their skin will be changed. They may have cancer changes in their skin, so they have to always protect themselves against all those sunlight. They have to take extra measures, and that's why we don't expect them to walk during the when it is too sunny. We expect them to use protective covering and all that. But there's nothing about it, and salt does not cause any harm to albinism. There are lots of people also believe that people who are albinos, like we call those who have albinism, maybe they are sacred, or they are like all these superstitions in Africa that they are used for rituals and stuff. All those are superstitions. They are not correct. So the most important thing is that if you have albinism, you need to understand albinism, what is missing, and how to protect yourself from all the different challenges that may happen to those who have albinism. But most of the time, it is mostly protection from radiations and stuff like that you really need. So if you want to know more about albinism, you can check our Facebook group. I'm sure we've had a group discussion on the topic before. All right. Good evening, Hongwe Amanda. My baby is 7 months, 5 days. You have cough. You've seen a pediatrician. He's on drug. If you stop and come back again, so you go back to your pediatrician for follow-up. That is a natural thing. Once you've been to a doctor, your child is not better, just go back. And it's not because your doctor has not treated your child well. You also need to understand what's going on with cough and catarrh. How is your child getting it? Okay. It's one thing for your child to be treated, it's for your child to be exposed again. So you need to make sure you are taking precaution it is, you are asking how to stop. Yeah, I guess you're asking about prevention, because the prevention is key. All right. Number one, make sure you're still breastfeeding your baby. Breastfeeding protect your baby against respiratory infections. One of the reasons we preach and we encourage you guys to exclusive breastfeed, and then after you've even your baby is now over 6 months, we expect you to keep breastfeeding your baby in addition to whatever you are giving, because there are lots of what we call antibodies, and especially IgA, that passes through your breast milk to your baby and protects the respiratory, what we call the lining of the respiratory system, and they protect your baby against all these respiratory infections. Is one of the reasons we always say this thing, but people look at it from food alone, but you are not going to get IgA from your formula. You're only going to get it from breast milk. So that is why you need to breastfeed your baby. So you keep your baby away from people who are having cough and catarrh. Babies don't get cough and catarrh just by being in an isolated space. They get it from people. So usually it's other siblings who have been to school, and all that. If you take your child to a crèche, it's a vicious cycle. Sometimes you just have to take your child out of the crèche or daycare, because they keep going back and getting it from other children. As they are getting better, they get it again. You also need to keep your children away from smoke, fumes, especially if you're using a generator. If somebody smoke, nobody should even smoke in the house around the baby, and you shouldn't be taking your babies to the kitchen. All those smoke and fumes, they irritate the airway and make it easier for all these germs to you know to come in as well. So those are things you really need to do. Pay attention to the prevention rather than focusing on treating it again. If you focus on the prevention, then your child will not have catarrh and all that. So if your child say your child's zone is allergy, then you need to ask your doctor, what is your child allergic to? Then you need to avoid that. Okay. So it is not every cough and catarrh that is allergy. Yes. Some children have allergic condition like what we call allergic rhinitis or bronchial asthma and all that, which can also cause recurrent cough and catarrh and all that. But the most important thing in such instances is to know what are the triggers, okay? And even some of the things I've mentioned could also be triggers even for the allergic type of cough and catarrh as well, like dust. Some children don't like dust. It could be your perfume. So if you have babies, you shouldn't be like spraying them. And unfortunately, the other day I was on Facebook and I see a lot of mothers making fun and talking about why can't they use cologne for their baby, because they are trying to sound twish and woke and saying it is very good to be using cologne for babies. That is absolute nonsense. Your baby does not need any cologne. And if your baby is the type that is allergic to some of those things, you are going to create all this problem for your baby giving to them. Babies don't need any of those things. We should just learn to separate ourselves from our babies, okay? There's no way in any textbook. People that sell all these things, they just have to sell something for mothers to buy. They know you always buy them. But please, children don't need them. Actually, babies, they don't need no cologne, no perfume on them, okay? It can irritate their hair. Even you as a mother, you may want to even stop using your own, because it could irritate your baby's hairway. The same thing with the fumes in your kitchen, dust, all those things. You want to avoid things that can irritate the airway, and that is what you really need to do, because sometimes we don't see the link between all these things, and all you need to do is to see that link. Even for your baby, it could be the formula. Some babies are allergic to the formula and it could manifest with them. So what I would expect your pediatrician to have told you is what is the trigger in your baby. Sometimes we know, sometimes we don't know. But if we don't know, the best thing is to avoid all the possible triggers, at least as much as possible. The common ones are the dust, fumes, perfumes, all those things. All of us that spray our house, you don't want to be spraying your house when you have babies, or you make sure you spray and leave the house for like 2 hours for all the smell and everything to have gone before you come back. So those are the things we need to take precautions about, and sometimes just doing that, your baby's allergy will go down. But if you don't know the cause, then usually if it's allergy, there are anti-allergy medications that your doctors can give to your baby to kind of prevent the thing. So the most important thing is to just try and figure it out. Thank you, Taye Makinde. Thank you. Let's just, okay, this person, well, my baby's leg is out. I think we've answered your question. All right, 37 is normal, so you don't need to do anything. Just leave the baby alone. Okay, my Lenora, my 5-year-old son has been stammering for a year now. What do I do? So stammering or stuttering or something like that, it can be a passing phase for some children. It depends on why they are doing it. Sometimes it could just be that they are nervous. Sometimes it's just the pressure to speak. So sometimes you just need to calm them down and just tell them, take your time and don't try to. Some of us were also impatient with our children as they're talking. We're trying to hurry up, stop, and then you make them get more nervous and then they stutter the more. So sometimes you just need to slow down and be patient and let them express themselves. And especially teachers as well. I hope teachers are listening to me. Just let the children be calm. Don't put them too much under pressure for everything. Sometimes just a passing phase, but sometimes some people really have it bad. Then you want to see a speech therapist, and they can also give you additional tips and support around the stuttering. So it's a diagnosis that speech therapists will make, and they can give you support. But sometimes it's just a matter of just being patient, being calm with the children, and sometimes just a passing phase and then it's all gone. But I guess if it's been going on for 1 year, I'll recommend that you see a speech therapist and then you can take it up from there. Oh, sorry. Okay. Let me go back to Instagram. I'll come back. Let me see. Where did I stop on Instagram? Sprint, yeah. Then, Ian, my 11-month-old baby has a fever. We started last night. She hasn't eaten much today. She usually, what do I do? Your child has a fever, give paracetamol. You can take a sponge as well and see whether, and I hope you have a thermometer. Please use your digital thermometer to measure the temperature. And if the temperature is above 37.5, that is fever. So you can give paracetamol and monitor. And if the child is fever persists, and of course, you may want to go to the hospital. So if the fever is not going down, you can repeat your paracetamol every 6 hours. But if the fever is not going down, then you may want to go to the hospital. Of course you should keep breastfeeding your baby, but it may be there are many causes of fever, and your child obviously may be coming down with something. So fever, not eating, could be anything, could be malaria, could be any of the viral infection, could be anything. So just for give paracetamol, watch, and if the child is not better, you have to take to the hospital so that we can investigate and we can know what is causing the fever. All right, Chummy for King. Good evening. My baby is 9 months. She doesn't like eating anything. Is the weight okay? The weight is fair. Usually we expect 9 months old to weigh 9 kilos, but your child should be eating more than anything. You say your child doesn't like eating anything. I mean, I know that is mom talk for a child who is not eating as much as you like. But Chum for King, I'm sure you've heard us talk a lot about complementary feeding and all the various tips. So you can also go to our Facebook group. We have a lot of videos on complementary feeding, and I think you may want to watch that, and then you may want to implement some of those strategies as well. All right. Miss Debbie J, good evening. Are there some cases solid are introduced before 6 months? No, we don't recommend solid before 6 months. Solid after 6 months. Okay. What baby showing readiness before 6 months? Baby is not ready until 6 months. Baby may show you signs that they are ready to eat, but they are not ready. Their tummy, their digestive system is not ready before 6 months. So complementary feeding should be from 6 months. Okay, somebody say you can't hear me. I hope other people can hear me. Is there something on my balloon? All right. We can't hear you. Say my audio is just noisy. Okay. I don't know what's wrong with my audio. Okay, I'll just check. Okay, just let me know whether the audio is okay for those on Instagram, because people say you can't hear me. I don't know what is the problem. I can't see any problem yet. All right. Let me just check my device audio control. Make sure nothing else is sharing my audio. Maybe it's internet issue. All right. So if you're on Instagram, let me know whether you can hear me very well. I don't know. Let me move closer to my mic. Just let me know if you can hear me well on Instagram. Let me come back to Facebook then. Um, all right, the next question on Facebook. Okay, I've answered the summary question. Somebody said, can a baby of 16, can one trim a baby of 16 weeks nails? Yes, of course, you can trim your baby's nails. For those on Instagram, let me know whether my voice is clearer now. You said it was noisy before. Just let me know. Somebody should just let me know in comments. All right. Praises and rate. Good evening. At what point is baby expected to stop folding their legs? Folding their legs. I'm not sure I understand. Usually, when babies are born, they tend to be flexed, but not folding their legs. They don't tend to fold their legs. Or maybe I'm not sure I get what you mean by folding their legs. Usually, they don't supposed to fold their legs. They are not like flat. Uh, they are kind of flexed, but that does not mean they're folding their legs. Maybe you want to clarify what you mean by folding. So that, but usually by the time babies are, but usually sometimes they are flexing their hands, but not their legs. So that's what I'm trying to understand. And by the time they're about 3 to 4 months, we expect them to be more relaxed and to have legs of the flexing and all that. So just let me know whether that is okay. Um, Indirect says, good evening. My baby is 4 months and 10 days old. He's currently pouring greenish mucus. Just a little yellow could be seen. Melocidas present. How are you feeding your baby? So we expect you to be feeding your baby with exclusive breast milk. Exclusive breastfeeding at 4 months. So make sure you are breastfeeding your baby and you are breastfeeding on demand. Like you are not just breastfeeding and you know letting go. You're breastfeeding on demand. So uh if your baby is having greenish stool, it's either you're giving something like a formula that can make babies stool greenish, or you are not breastfeeding enough, or you are taking, or your baby is taking drugs that will also alter the stool and make it look green. So it could be any of those three. So which is very important for you to tell us how you're breastfeeding your baby, or what you are feeding your baby with. All right. The next question, somebody said, can you talk more on hiccups on babies from 7 months and above? Babies can have hiccups. It's not a big deal. We don't expect. Usually, it will go by itself. Most of them just wait for a few seconds, and that's it. So we don't expect babies to be having hiccups for long, and it is not something you need to start worrying or panicking about. So just nothing to worry about. It's not a big deal. So I don't think it's something we really need to talk long about. Your baby is having hiccups, just watch and it will get better. Um, it's rolling a little more. Yeah, babies can drool, saliva. It's not a big deal as well. It's nothing to worry about. Amaka, what age does a girl child sees her period? Okay, so what we call menarche, it varies. It can vary from one. Uh, Usually most girls will start their puberty around the age of 8 years. Some maybe 9 years, but usually by the time they're about 12, 13, they may see the first period. It varies, okay, but usually that's we expect most girls to have seen their first period by the time they're about 16. So if your child is 16 and they have not seen the period, that is when we will worry about it. All right. Exclusive breastfeeding and on demand. Okay, yeah. Are you the one asking about the greenish student? Make sure you pay attention that you are breastfeeding frequently. Make sure that when your baby is sucking, your baby empties the breast, including the fore milk and the hind milk. Okay, and then you alternate your breast as well, and make sure you're not giving any drugs or anything else that could be affecting babies too. So that's the most important thing. As long as your baby is sucking well, your baby is gaining weight, it's nothing to worry about. Christiana Shomoyewa, my baby is 7 months, weighs 8.3. Is she overweight? No. The weight is okay. Can I give her a orange? Yes, you can. Do I extract the juice in water before giving her? Yes, you extract the juice. I'm having cough and catarrh. I'm taking medication. Yeah, okay, and it's having some. And so, okay, yeah, maybe the medication you are taking is affecting your baby's stool. It could also be the one your baby is taking as well. All those things is a possibility and all that. But most likely, just focus on making sure your baby is sucking well. The color of the stool is not what really matters. It's what it is telling us that matters. So we are sure your baby is sucking well, your baby is eating well, your baby is gaining weight. Then it's not something we are going to worry about. So it could be any of those possibility. Chinas, when is the best time to deworm a baby? Age of 1 year. My baby is 1 year, 5 months, and I never did. You can still do it now. So you can start deworming from the age of 1 year, and then you can deworm every 6 months. So that is when we expect your baby to be dewormed. All right. Okay. Instagram. Let me come back to Instagram. Show me for King. I think I've answered your question. If you're still there. All right, Shamran Fashion and Sunset. Debbie J, I think I've answered your question. Somebody say can't hear you. All right, we can't hear you. Oh, can you hear me now? I don't know what is wrong with my Instagram. Oh. Okay, let me see. Those who are here now, can you hear me or is still noisy? Okay, let me come off my Instagram and come back again then. Just 1 minute. All right. I just go and come back. All right. I think it's Instagram issue. Okay. Let me remove this one. Okay, Instagram. Let's hope you can hear me better now. I think my volume is maximum. Yeah. Let me just check my volume. That's never happened before, but it sometimes happens. Okay. All right. Okay, sorry. All right. Okay, maybe this is what happened. Okay. Okay, Instagram people, let me know whether you can hear me now. So just let me know in comments whether you can hear me. While I'm waiting for Instagram, I'll be going to Facebook. Instagram, if you have any questions, sorry, I have to start over again. So if you have asked a question before and I didn't answer before, feel free to ask again. And let me know whether you can hear my voice clearly, Instagram people. I guess there's something happening in the background. All right. Let's go back to Facebook. Okay, Patience, thank you for letting me know you can hear me. I hope it's not noisy anymore. Thank you. All right, so feel free to ask your question now. I went off because some people were struggling to hear me. They said it was just noisy. So I hope they come back. All right, sorry about that. All right, let's go to, oh, you can hear me now. Great, great. I don't know what happened. I think there's something with my setting that went wrong somewhere, but I just tried to do it again. All right, somebody say I'm not lactating well. My baby gets some formula. Please, can I add anything else? Plus, how can I lactate well? Add anything else for your babies? No, there's nothing else to add. What you can add is to give your baby breast milk, nothing else to add. And how can you lactate well? We have lots of breastfeeding videos that you may want to watch. So you can go to our Facebook group and go to our guide section, and we have a guide on breastfeeding and a lot of videos there for you to watch. I think a lot of us mothers, we tend to give up easily with breastfeeding. I don't know whether it's the people around us, people that tend to kind of discourage us. So sometimes I see people, oh, against all odds, I was able to breastfeed. I'm always happy to read those reports because, and so that's why I'm so happy I'm doing what I'm doing, because I guess I'm one of the lone voices encouraging people to breastfeed as well, because it seems like there are lots of other voices trying to tell you, don't bother, just go get formula. But what they don't tell you is that there are so many things you are missing out when you don't breastfeed your babies. Okay, the only thing formula will give your baby is food. It doesn't give them protection, doesn't give them anything else. So I want to encourage you as much as possible. Don't quickly give up. When you are struggling with breastfeeding, breastfeeding is an art. It's something you have to learn. It doesn't always come straight easy to everybody. But if you're struggling to breastfeed, the solution is not to jump on the formula train straight away. You are going to make it more difficult. The solution is to stick with your breastfeeding and put the baby properly to the breast. Make sure you are attaching the baby to the breast. Most of us don't attach our baby well to the breast because breastfeeding is a demand and supply kind of economy. If your baby is not sucking out the breast milk, more will not be produced and more will not flow. And if you are not now putting the baby to the breast to suck it, then you go to formula, then the breast milk will not be produced more. And then you're like, oh, I'm not lactating, that's why I'm using formula. But you are not lactating because you are not breastfeeding and you are using an alternative. So let's try and encourage ourselves and mothers. Let's encourage ourselves. I wish we have there are breastfeeding support groups as well on Facebook. I guess we need to have more of it. I think there's one for India. I think we need to have one for Nigeria as well, where we encourage ourselves to breastfeed our baby, because that's the best way to feed your baby. So let's not always quickly jump on the formula trend once we have any little difficulty with our breastfeeding. So the way to lactate is to actually put your babies to the breast. Put them to the breast. Our nurses, I hope you are listening to me. Let's try and encourage mothers to establish breastfeeding. Let's not just, I know it makes life easier for the nurses once we just go and give them formula so that you can go and do all the 1,001 things we need to do. But new mothers need that encouragement. They need that support to get their babies attached to the breast, to get their baby breastfeeding. That's why we used to have the breastfeeding baby-friendly hospitals in the 80s and 90s. It seems to all have fizzled out now, but we really need to bring it back. So we encourage our mothers to breastfeed, and it's what is the best for our babies, honestly. So that's why I will always encourage you to do as much breastfeeding as you can. Okay, 7 weeks baby is having catarrh. What's the remedy? No remedy. The most important thing to prevent that baby from having catarrh. Please breastfeed your baby. Again, breastfeeding. Keep your baby warm. Keep baby away from all these people that are having cough and catarrh that are coming to visit. Keep baby away from them. Keep baby away from fumes, from smokes, from the kitchen, from all the spraying, all the perfume. These are the things that cause all these things. So if you avoid them, then your baby will be fine and your baby will not have catarrh. All right, let me go back to Instagram, people, because I think they can hear me now. Sorry, thank you for your patience with me. Okay, thank you. So you can all hear me now. All right. Baby, my baby is 2 weeks today, weighs 5 kilos. Okay, he has swollen breast from birth. We try expressing. No, you shouldn't have expressed it. You should have. Please, babies can have enlarged breasts at birth. It is because of your hormones as the mother that is circulating in the blood of babies. So there are a lot of things you pass to your babies when babies sharing the same blood with you. So whatever is going on in your blood goes into the baby, but it's going to clear within a few weeks after your baby has been born. The hormones are going to clear. So, but you pressing it, you are going to make things harder. Number one, you are going to introduce germs into it. It can get infected, and baby will not need antibiotics. Baby will even need to have a mini surgery to drain out the pus. So, if your baby's breasts are enlarged, please just leave it alone. It will go down on its own with time. All right, you don't need to do anything. And please always ask the doctors about all these things before you start doing your own thing, because a lot of all the people around, all these experienced mothers, they cause a lot of problems for us. So there's no need to press, there's no need to massage it, just leave it alone. That's all. There's no need to do anything else. I need to go down over time. It may take several months, but it will go down. So just leave it alone. Yeah, the hardness of the breast is because I'm suspecting you're almost creating an infection in it. So if it is red, if it is hot, and it is hard, you have to go to the hospital because you have pressed it and you have made it to become infected. That may be a sign of what we call cellulitis. What you need to have done is to just have left it alone and not do anything to it. So, but if it's not red, if it's not hot, it's very unlikely to be infected. Just leave it alone. Don't do any more pressing. That's what I'm just going to recommend. Okay, what is the right time to deworm a baby? From the age of 1 year. So if you are in Nigeria, because I need to qualify that answer, for those of us who live in countries where we have what we call worm infestation that is endemic. We have a lot of us have worms, a lot of our children have worms. WHO, World Health Organization recommends we deworm our children regularly. Some of you who live in the UK, in the US, you will notice that they don't deworm their own children routinely because they don't have a problem of worms infestation. So for those of you who live in Africa, in Nigeria especially, we have that problem. So we routinely deworm our children from the age of 1 year, and you do it every 6 months. So every 6 months you deworm them, and you can just go to any pharmacy and buy worm expeller. You don't need a prescription. You don't need a doctor's prescription to buy worm expeller. The pharmacy will give you any one that you have. We tend to recommend a bendazole, which tends to come as the dose is 200 milligrams for children below the age of 2 years and 400 milligrams for everybody above 2 years, including you as adults as well. So, and it is just one dose at once, and then you can repeat it in 6 months time. It comes as tablet, it comes as syrup, or just read the instruction and follow it, or ask the pharmacist. They will tell you there are other worm expeller. Just follow the instruction on the quantity, the dose, and for your child's age. But it is something you can just pick on the line. You don't need to come to the hospital for a prescription for worm expeller. And please deworm our children, because worms can make children not to gain weight. It can make them for them to be short of blood, and and these are something that we can easily treat and prevent just by deworming the children. And our children, and they play in the sand, all these worm spores, they're all over the place, they're on the fruits. Sometimes we don't, you can't always make sure children are washing all their fruits or washing their hands and playing in the sand, so they are exposed to all these worms. And that is why we recommend we routinely just deworm them to avoid this scenario. All right, thank you. All right, let's go on to Facebook again. My baby was dewormed at 6 months and went for immunization. Oh, you don't need to deworm your baby at 6 months. It's at 1 year. But there's not. I don't think anything will happen if you did. It's just that your baby has not been exposed. So we don't expect a 6-month-old baby to be exposed to worms, because your baby has been at home with you. Where has that baby gone? That baby has not gone anywhere. So the baby has not eaten any solid, hopefully, because we don't expect you to have given that baby. We expect your baby to be only on breast milk up to the age of 6 months. So there's no way worms should have come to that baby, because there's no worms in breast milk. So we expect worms when children start eating solid, eating fruits, running around, playing in the sand and hands. So that's why we say from age of 1 year. But the fact that you have done it does not mean anything is going to happen to your baby. But just for you to know, for future babies, start from the age of 1 year. All right. Your baby's at 2 months old. Is it the mom that has question about breastfeeding? Yeah, it's not too late. Just breastfeed your babies, okay? As much as you can. Even though they are twins, you can breastfeed them. Trust me. We have people that have breastfed their twins. But if you felt, oh, I'm struggling, you want to give formula, you already started, no problem. But make sure the more you breastfeed, the more the benefits of breastfeeding that your babies are going to get, and the better. And you also have other benefits as well, like yourself. Okay, so but I will leave today so that we don't go on breastfeeding for so long. All right. Okay, Charming for King. I've answered your question, but maybe you didn't hear me before. So your baby should be your babies should be averagely about 9 kilos. So 8.4 is not too bad. It's close enough. I'm not worried about the weight, but obviously I'm worried that your child is not eating well, because the next time you're going to ask me a question and the weight may have dropped further, and I don't want that to happen. So I'm sure you've listened to me, because I know you're regular. You've listened to me talk about complementary feeding and how to go about it. So please just patiently begin to do all those tips on complementary feeding. You can go to our Facebook group, go through all the videos. We have what we call guides in our Facebook group, and there's a guide too on complementary feeding, and it tells you how to go about it. I think the most important thing for us as mothers is to be patient when we're doing complementary feeding. We're always in a hurry, and I understand. I'm also a mother too, and I know we want to do all the 1001 things we have got on our checklist, and feeding our baby is just one of those. So you want to do it in 5-10 minutes so that you can move on to the next thing that you have to do in the house and at home, at work, and all that. But sometimes for some of our babies, we just have to be extra patient with them. And I always make a joke that if I'm able to bottle and sell patience to the mothers, I'll be a millionaire, because I think most of us need that patience. So just be patient. Sometimes, you introduce one food, you have to give it over and over and over. We said 13 times, 1 week before you say, okay, baby is not accepting it. It's not like you give it one day, baby didn't take it, that means baby is not going to accept it. You try the next day, the baby may take it. And it doesn't matter if the baby take only 1 spoon, it's okay. The next time, baby may take 2 spoons, the next time may take 3 spoons. So don't be in a hurry, like baby have to finish a whole bowl of the pap or the cereal or the porridge or whatever that day, and the fact that baby did not take all the whole bowl, it means baby is not going to eat it. No. So don't, just be patient, do it gradually. There are a lot of sites and groups, and thank God for social media, recipes that people have created online. If you want to check them out, I don't even bother doing that. What I try to teach mothers is a principle behind complementary feeding, and I leave you to use your own judgment to figure out what your baby likes. And there's no food your baby cannot eat. And some of us are also fixated on, my baby must take this particular brand of this cereal or this particular brand of formula, and that is no. Complementary feeding is what you eat. Your baby can eat it. It is the pie, is a potato, is the yam, is the rice, is the you can give your own normal food. You don't have to buy any particular brand or anything to give complementary food. And as much as possible, try and do one food at a time. Don't do a lot of mixes, and please make sure the food has taste. Make sure it's colorful. Make sure it's presented in a bowl. Make sure you make it interesting, so the children don't get bored about it. So these are some of the little tips that we can, put in, and be patient with it and be persistent, and hopefully we will get there one day. So just keep doing. And of course, I hope you are still breastfeeding your baby as well. And let's pay attention to the quantity. The quantity of complementary food we need to be giving our babies they're not that much. For a 9-month-old, just half a cup 3 or 4 times a day. The rest is still going to still be breast milk. So we really need, because sometimes I think most of us are even trying to feed our baby too much. And so when they don't finish that quantity that we think we should be feeding them, then we get upset over it. Sometimes it's just making sure we're giving the right, we're not even trying to give too much than what is recommended for their age. So I'm sure you can go through all our guide section, watch all those videos, and just try your best to do what you can. And don't give up, just be patient, okay? All right. Okay, patient is here asking about the warming. When in the time of the day, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I know I grew up people thinking you have to do warm first thing in the morning or this. No, there's no law. You can give your baby the deworming tablet any time of the day, any time of the night, before food, after food. It doesn't really matter. Just the worm. The most important thing is to make sure that the worming tablet goes into the intestine. It will locate any worms or spores that are there and clear it off. So that's it. Doesn't really matter. All right, unique cakes. I will resume work soon. I was only given 2 months leave. Oh no, that's not right. We want you to have 6 months maternity leave with pay. That is what ATP has been advocating for. We really need to prioritize our children, because our children are the future of tomorrow. So if we don't prioritize them, I mean, all this running to work that we're doing it because so that we'll be able to leave something for these children anyway. So if we're leaving our children and going to work, then the child is not getting the proper care, then you are not going to be settled at work again, and then you will have to run home. That is why even Lagos State government, Cardinal State, all of them have now made it 6 months maternity leave with pay for the mothers, because there is really no benefit in making mothers rush back to work and they are really stressed about their babies at home. And then when baby start falling sick, then you will have to leave the work. Why not just let the mother stay at home, breastfeed the baby, take care of the baby before going back to work? So that's our recommendation. So going back to work does not mean you cannot keep breastfeeding. You can keep breastfeeding. And if you have gone to our Facebook group and watch our guide one on breastfeeding, there's actually a video on how to keep breastfeeding when you resume work. So I will recommend that you watch it. So what we normally recommend is that you express your breast milk and store it. And the people that are helping you at home, they can keep giving your baby the expressed breast. Make sure you label it properly, the dates and the time, so that they give the one that you can store your breast milk. If you express your breast milk and leave it on the table, what we call room temperature, it can stay for 6 hours and nothing's going to happen to it. If you keep it in your fridge, it will last for like 5 days. If you keep it in your freezer, in your fridge, it can last like 2 weeks. If you keep it in your deep freezer, the dedicated freezer that you don't open all the time, it can last 3 months. So I've known people that have traveled and they didn't go with their baby and they have enough breast milk to keep in the freezer for the baby. So it is possible, but you have to keep, you have to start expressing and keeping and storing so that your baby will always have breast milk. And when you are back, you just go back to breastfeeding your babies was, when your baby's with you, just keep breastfeeding and keep expressing, keep storing, and you can do it. And people have done it, okay, and it's doable. All right. Your baby will not starve if you do the right thing. It is doable. It's something we've all done, and it's something that can be done. Alternative is to take your baby with you to a creche near your work, which is the alternative we recommend for some workplaces. You can have a creche at work. For people like us that work in hospitals, that's what we did. So you have a creche at work where your baby is, and every 15 minutes or whenever you have your break. Usually, most babies, when they suck, before their next feed, it will be another 3 hours. So which may be your own lunch time. Then you go breastfeed again. Of course, you have kept some express as well for them. Or if they run out, they call you, then you go and breastfeed your baby, which is also doable. So it is doable. There are many ways. The most important thing is your will. I want to exclusive breastfeed my baby, you will do it. If you make up your mind you want to do it, you will do it. Whether you're a mother, I've seen doctors who did this, I've seen teachers who did this, it's possible to do it. So it's just a matter of will. I've seen ordinary mom, like business women who did it. The example of the person I gave that traveled abroad, she was able to do exclusive breastfeed because she has expressed enough and stored it in the freezer when she was going away, and her baby was back home, and they were still able to breastfeed the baby with the express breast milk. So it's doable. But the most important thing is the will. If there's a will, there will be a way. If there's no will, any slight challenge you're going to give up. So it's up to you really. But I can tell you that it's doable. And I can encourage you, I can support you to make sure you do it. All right. I think, do I have a question? All right. Good evening. Okay, I think I don't have any more questions. So, but which is good. Time is almost up. So if you have any questions after, sorry for Instagram people. Sorry, most of you were disappointed because you didn't hear me answer your question before. But feel free to get on our Facebook group, Ask the Pediatricians. You can ask your questions Monday to Saturday. So if you still have any questions after we are off live, you can see post it on our Facebook group and we will try and answer them as soon as possible. Like I said, please be patient. And if it's an emergency, please go to the hospital. What is an emergency? Anything that requires something to be done immediately or life is at stake. That's the definition of an emergency. In other words, if you don't do something straight away, life is at risk or at stake. So that's an emergency. That is not to be posted on the Facebook group. That has to go to the hospital. So if your child is convulsing, your child is at a fall, your child is bleeding, your child is having asthmatic attack, your child is unconscious, the child is having difficulty with breathing or has taken something the wrong way, please, those have to go to the hospital. Your child has suffered a major burns, that has to go to the hospital. If it's urgent means we have to do something within an hour or so. So your child is very ill. Any child less than 2 months old, any issue, you have to go to the hospital. Any issue whatsoever, go to the hospital. Child has all, we all know when children are ill, child is vomiting, the child is not tolerating the ORS despite having diarrhea and all that, you have to go to the hospital. Reason is that the earlier you come to the hospital, the faster we can intervene, and delay sometimes can be dangerous. So please take sick children to the hospital. I'm saying that because I know some of us are very comfortable with this our social media presence, which is good, but please, we should know that we cannot solve all the problems on social media, and you have to go to the hospital when there are issues. Okay, but if it is just to ask, oh, should I breastfeed my baby? How many months? When do I do what? Hey, those kind of things, there's no emergency about them. Whether I answer them at 10 o'clock or at 12 midnight, it's still not going to make any difference. You will still get the answer. And so those ones you can post on our group. We don't mind. And you can post as many times as you like. And there's no stupid question. There is no question you cannot ask. Even though some of you ask me questions that I wonder, this has nothing to do with being a pediatrician, but it's okay. I will still tell you what I think, and then recommend who can do it better. So it's okay. You can ask your question. Feel free to do that. But if children are sick, it's an emergency. Please, I beg you, you have to go to the hospital, because that's where you're going to see us as well. All right, I have one question. How can a pregnant woman prepare her breast for delivery? And can a pregnant woman take honey? Okay, so there is no special preparation if your breast is normal breast. And when I say normal breast, you have your nipple. The main problem is those who have what we call nipple inverted nipples. So most of us have our nipple shooting out. That is the normal nipple. But some people, their nipple are flat. You can't see the nipple separate from the rest of the breast, or the nipple is actually inside. It's not shooting out. Instead of shooting out, it's shooting the other way. So those are the people that may have difficulties with the breastfeeding, and those are the ones that need some support in preparation before delivery. So there are some methods we can use to bring out that nipple. So we have what we call a syringe method. So we will take out this 20 ml syringe, we take out the needle and all those things in the inside. It's more of a vacuum kind of effect. So we cut it out a bit, and then we'll kind of put it on the nipple, around the breast where the nipple should be, and then be pulling on it. And we expect with that suction pressure, it will bring out. Most people find it very painful, sorry, but you can start doing it gradually, so that by the time you will deliver, your nipple will be out. So that's what you can do for those who have that inverted nipple. But even for those who have flat nipples, so that's the only preparation you can do. And of course, normal preparation, that you wash your breast, you clean it. Sometimes the breast tends to get clogged with all the dead stuff, dead skin and all that. You can just scrub it and wash it, but there's no other special preparation beyond that. So the most important thing is that immediately that baby comes out like this, you must put that baby to the breast. And if you watch our breastfeeding videos, the first 1 hour of life is so crucial. If we put the baby on your tummy, while the doctors and nurses are still cutting the cord and doing that, God is so wonderful that baby by himself or herself, God has created that intuition in them. They will locate the breast. If you watch that video, you will see what I'm talking about. They will locate the breast by themselves, attach themselves to the breast, and start sucking without you doing anything. That is how it is. But what normally happens is that we how this our protocols. Immediately the baby is cut out, somebody is going with the baby, cleaning baby, dressing baby. All those things are not necessary. Somebody is dealing with. We separate the baby and the mother, and then we are doing all those sort of stuff. No, the thing to do is to keep the baby with the mother. So if you use private hospitals, especially, please take notes. Let your baby stay with you. I also had my last baby in a private hospital. I'm a pediatrician, and they are taking my baby away from me. And I told them, "Can I have my baby, please?" And they're like, "Oh, they're doing the babies." No, get my baby for me. I want my baby here now. So that is how it should be. And I mean, I'm a medical professional, and I'm in a hospital that's supposed to be one of the best hospitals in Lagos, and they don't even know those basic things, which is some things we should be teaching our staff and all that. So I have to insist on them bringing my baby to me because I want to breastfeed my baby. Sometimes the nurses meant well, actually, maybe if you had CS and you've had all those things, they just say, oh, maybe mother should rest. You don't need to rest. You need to breastfeed your baby. It's so important. So that is the most important thing. The most important thing is to make sure that baby is put to the breast within the first hour of life. That is the most important thing. So it is, and what you normally see first is not white milk, which is another thing that normally causes confusion, because mothers say, oh, I'm not lactating. You are lactating, but what you are going to see is not going to be white milk. We call it colostrum. It looks like either yellow or like water, or like not, it's not looking like the normal white milk that we're used to. So it is still milk, and it's colostrum, and it's the best food for your baby in that first few days of life, because it contains all the ends, all the antibodies and all that. We call it liquid gold. It's your baby first immunization. You must not throw it away. It is not sour milk. It is nothing wrong with it, which is what some people do. They will throw it away. Oh my God. That is your baby's first immunization. So you must make sure your baby is sucking on it. You will not see it looking like milk, but it is coming out. And that's why some of you wonder, what is baby sucking? Because you can't see the milk flowing, but you see the baby still sucking on it. The baby is sucking something. It is called colostrum. So make sure you put that baby to the breast within the first hour of life. If anybody is trying to tell you otherwise, tell them, please give me my baby and breastfeed. Honestly, that is the most important thing. Once you do that, there's what we call the milk letdown. It is the sucking of the baby on the breast that makes the milk to flow. So a lot of mothers will tell me, I'm not breastfeeding because I'm not lactating. And I'm like, you can only lactate when your baby suck on the breast. So you put the baby to the breast, that's when your milk will flow. You are waiting for your milk to flow so that you can breastfeed your baby. Your baby, the breast is waiting for you to put the baby to the breast, then the milk will flow. It's a little bit kind of confusing sometimes, but that is actually the right thing. It is the sucking of the baby, because it's an hormone-based system. So something has to initiate it. When the baby starts sucking, then some hormones are released, and that causes the milk letdown to happen. So those are the things you really need to do. Nothing else beyond that. Then honey taking. The baby is the one that does not need to take honey. So the pregnant mother, the breastfeeding mother, she can take honey. But the newborn babies, especially Yoruba culture, that they always want to put honey in baby's mouth. Please, no honey in baby's mouth, because there's something, there's a particular bacteria, we call it Clostridium botulinum, that's is present in honey, actually the natural honey, not the one they do in the factory. And most of us that are adults, if you take honey and you have that spore, you will break it down. You have the enzyme to break it down, but newborn babies don't. So that means that spore will germinate and will create a condition we call infant botulism, which can paralyze baby, which can cause very serious illness. So a baby less than 1 year, no honey at all. So if you want to be on the safe side, because some of us we forget ourselves before you now know you, so my baby has leak on you. Even some of us, our babies are taking our iron supplements and we don't know. So it's best for you to just make sure you don't have it around you. But if you are very careful, mom, and you know what you're doing, you can take your own honey as long as it does not enter the mouth of the baby. So that's the most important thing. All right. I hope I'm not going to overburden on that question, but it's okay if you want to take honey, but not for the baby. Okay. All right. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today. Again, let me start to be winding down. I'm telling you that ATP Live, ATP Hour, everything is going to wind up by the middle of December. So from the 18th of December, you will not be seeing us live until 2024. So thank you so much for sticking to us, but we'll still be here for another 3 weeks, I think. So thank you so much for joining us. And if you have any questions, feel free to post on our Facebook group and we'll try and answer them. And remember, our project is still ongoing. For those of you on Facebook, you can see behind me. Please support us, donate. If you have been to a school or your school where you teach, let us know. We hope to come to all the schools in Nigeria, hopefully before the in another few years. Hopefully, we'll get around everybody, and we're just trying to make sure we empower our students on first aid care and all that. And we appreciate your support and everything. So, thank you so much. I'm going now. Unique, you are just coming with another question. It is last minute. I need to go. It's already 7 p.m. Nigerian time. Okay, let me see whether I can answer your question in 1 minute. Da, da, da. Uh, no, for plastic bell circumcision, you don't need to apply anything. I showed you, all this one is extra. You don't need to apply anything. As if falling off, it will fall by itself. You don't need to apply anything. And that's it. There's no extra care. So if you want to read more, go to our website. We have an article on circumcision and how to care for circumcision. You don't need to apply anything for plastibel. It will come off once the plastic has dropped. That is it. So what you do after that is the same thing you do to the every part of the skin of the baby. You wash your baby normally. You apply body cream normally, and that's it. There's nothing extra to do. Uh, okay, how so crack on nipples. Chinaza, you really need to go to our Facebook group and watch all the breastfeeding video. You really need to do it. I'm very happy that you are asking all these questions ahead. I guess you are the one that is pregnant and you are trying to get ready for breastfeeding, which is awesome. So what you need to do is to just go to our Facebook group, look for the guide section. There's a guide, one on breastfeeding. We have lots of breastfeeding videos you can watch. The only reason why mothers have cracked nipples is poor attachment of the baby to the breast. The baby should not be sucking on the nipple. The baby should be sucking on the areola beyond the nipple. So if you get the breastfeeding attachment correctly, there'll be no cracked nipples. So we even have a video on what to do with cracked nipples, but the most important thing is how to prevent it, which is to make sure that you get the attachment correctly. And there's a video on how to attach your baby to the breast. And I always like to say that breastfeeding is 98% attachment. Once you get the attachment to correctly, you will enjoy breastfeeding. It is because it's not painful, it's stressless, it's just lovely. You won't even know you are having a baby because you just be breastfeeding and your baby will be fine and you don't have to do anything beyond bathing your baby, and nothing else to be stressing over, preparing this, preparing that. No. So if you watch those videos and get it right, you will not have any cracked nipples. I really wish we can do more in supporting mothers on getting that breastfeeding established. We used to do it a lot before, but I think we need to do more about it. But just watch those videos and then you will get it correctly. All right. I'm happy you're asking all this question because I can see that you are very much interested in doing exclusive breastfeeding. So watch those videos before you have your baby and you'll be ready. And that's it. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. I gotta go. I'll see you next week by God's grace. So then have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Bye.